Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello viewers, welcome back. This is Dr. Abid. Viewers, in today's lecture we are going to discuss about the rabies disease. I hope you are very much familiar about this disease. This is a very much important from the veterinary point of view and from the human's point of view as well. So we will cover various parameters of the rabies and its causative agent, clinical signs, possible treatment options and prevention along with the pathogenesis of this disease. So what's rabies? Rabies is a very zoonotic disease of dogs, cats, jackals and wolves etc. from the primary point of view, but it can also affect the human and other mammals as well. So if we talk about the causative agent of this disease, rabies virus belongs to the family Rhabdoviridae and genus Lysovirus type 1. This is a rod-shaped virus and sometimes it is called as bullet-shaped, which possesses the various structural components like glycoprotein, matrix protein, polymerase, enzyme, phosphoprotein, and by genetically it is RNA virus. So reservoir of the infection is basically dogs and wild animals act as a carriers or as the reservoir hosts of this lysovirus. Among those, bats, raccoons, skunks and foxes are the primary hosts of this infection. And what could be the source of infection in humans and other animals? The saliva of the rabid animals, because the resident site of this virus is salivary glands. So the source of infection is saliva from the biting of rabid animals. There are two forms of the rabies. One is called furous or aggressive form and other one is dumb rabies. What happens in furous rabies follows the same course as rabies in humans and the animal, which becomes very irritable and bites and snaps at any living thing it encounters. While in dumb rabies, there is little or no irritable stage and the animal becomes paralyzed before it dies. So this is the major difference of the two forms of rabies. So pathology of the rabies virus, how it causes the clinical symptoms. In first step, infection is transmitted through biting and wound. After infection enters, the virus multiply locally in the myocytes for weeks or months, and later on virus binds to the nicotine acetylcholine receptors at neuromuscular junctions. Via skeletal muscles, it is transferred to the central nervous system to affect the spinal cord first, and virus travels within axons in the peripheral nervous system to the central nervous system, and then replication in the motor neurons of the spinal cord and local dorsal root ganglia, and rapid ascent to the brain, and various the clinical aspect of this disease appears. Then virus in the brain spreads along the nerves to the salivary glands, skin, cornea and other organs, and saliva is the infection for up to 2 weeks before signs appear. So if we talk about the incubation period of this disease, it may as long as more than 1 year or a few days, depending upon the site of infection. If infection has occurred in near to the central nervous system or brain and spinal cord, then the incubation period can be reduced as compared to the distal parts of the body. So incubation period generally is considered as 1 to 3 months, but it can vary from 10 days to 1 year. And prevention and control of the rabies. The only way to prevent the infection of this disease is through immunization and washing of the bite wounds with soap and water for continuous time of 15 to 20 minutes. Rabies vaccine scheduled for the dog and cats includes first vaccination at 4 to 6 months and later on receive second booster 1 year later, and typically vaccination every 3 years. And some of the states requires annual vaccinations depending upon the geographical location. And there are two types of the preventions are exposures: pre-exposure prevention for the vet and people working in forest who have high risk of getting rabies, and versus post-exposure after getting bitten the animal prophylaxis. So the best way is to pre-exposure prophylaxis to prevent from the infection of this disease than the post-exposure. Thank you very much. Today's lecture ends here, and we will detail in some of the rabies signs and might be in other videos, because it causes the clinical neurological nervous signs just like aggression, hypersalivation, and other clinical signs. It may be detailed in other short video. Thank you for